Imagine driving down any main street in America and seeing empty buildings where popular fast food chains once stood. This isn't a dystopian future, it's become our reality in 2024. With 15 major fast food giants facing potential collapse, we're about to witness a transformation in commercial real estate. Here's what you need to know. 3 out of 4 Americans are regular fast food consumers. That's right. Everyone. Fast food is deeply embedded in our culture. But now, these 15 chains are on the brink of collapse. This isn't just about burgers and fries, it's a major economic shift that's going to reshape our communities. What happens when these prime locations suddenly become available? You're about to find out how this could create unexpected opportunities for savvy investors. And here's what's crazy. The US inflation rate is at 3%, expected to drop to 2% by the end of 2024. The entire economic landscape is changing before our eyes. Are you ready for what's coming? While we're watching for vacant storefronts, a seismic shift is happening inside the Golden Arches. McDonald's CEO just dropped a bombshell about their customer base. What income bracket is abandoning the drive-thru in droves? That's right, everyone. McDonald's, the fast food giant we all know, is facing some serious challenges. The CEO, Chris Kempczinski, recently revealed that customers earning less than $45,000 a year have significantly reduced their visits. It's not just a small dip, we're talking about a massive chunk of their customer base choosing to eat at home instead. But why is this happening? Well, it all comes down to one thing. Price. McDonald's has raised their prices by over 20% in just 5 years. That's a huge jump, and it's hitting customers hard. I recently went to a McDonald's where a Big Mac meal cost $11.79 before taxes. Can you believe that? For many people, that's no longer a cheap meal option. It's not just the lower income customers feeling the pinch. Middle income folks are also cutting back. They're ordering fewer items and going for cheaper options when they do visit. It's a big deal for McDonald's, as their customers have been their bread and butter for decades. Now, you might be thinking, surely McDonald's has a plan to fix this, right? Well, they're trying. The company is planning to introduce new value deals, including meal bundles and breakfast discounts. They're hoping these offers will bring back the cost-conscious customers they've lost. But here's the million-dollar question. Will it be enough? There's a lot of skepticism about whether these new value deals can reverse the trend of declining customer visits. After all, when people get used to eating at home to save money, it's not easy to lure them back out. This isn't just a McDonald's problem. It reflects broader challenges in the fast food industry. Even the biggest names in the business aren't immune to economic pressures. When a giant like McDonald's stumbles, it sends shockwaves through the entire sector. Think about what this means for the real estate market. All those prime McDonald's locations. What happens if they start closing down? It could create a ripple effect, impacting everything from property values to local employment. Before we move on, please help me spread the word by sharing this video with a friend who might like this information, and consider subscribing so you don't miss these regular updates. Thank you. While McDonald's struggles, another familiar name has already experienced a dramatic fall. Quiznos, once a staple in food courts and strip malls across America, has all but vanished. How did a chain with over 4,700 locations dwindle to just 300? And more importantly, what lessons can real estate investors learn from this collapse? Quiznos' story is a cautionary tale for the fast food industry and real estate investors alike. Back in the early 2000s, Quiznos was everywhere. They were known for their toasted subs and quirky commercials featuring those bizarre sponge monkeys. At their peak in 2007, Quiznos boasted over 4,700 locations across the United States. They were a serious competitor to Subway and seemed poised for long-term success. Fast forward to today, and Quiznos is barely hanging on. They've gone from over 4,700 locations to just about 300. That's a staggering 94% decrease. The chain that was once a household name is now on the bankruptcy watch list again. It's not just about sandwiches, it's a stark reminder of how quickly fortunes can change in the business world. So what happened? Quiznos' downfall wasn't due to a single factor, but rather a perfect storm of poor business decisions and an inability to adapt to changing market conditions. First, their franchise model was deeply flawed. Franchisees were required to buy supplies at inflated prices from Quiznos' parent company, cutting into their profits. This led to widespread discontent among franchise owners and eventually numerous lawsuits. At the same time, Quiznos faced increasing competition from other sandwich chains and fast casual restaurants. They failed to innovate their menu or adapt to changing consumer preferences for healthier options. Their prices remained high compared to competitors, and they struggled to differentiate themselves in an increasingly crowded market. The 2008 financial crisis dealt another blow to Quiznos. As consumers tightened their belts, many turned away from higher-priced fast food options. Quiznos, with its premium-priced subs, saw a significant drop in sales. The company's debt load became unsustainable, leading to a Chapter 11 bankruptcy filing in 2014. For real estate investors, Quiznos' story is a wake-up call. It shows how quickly a seemingly stable tenant can become a liability. Those prime locations that once housed bustling Quiznos franchises, many of them turned into vacant properties almost overnight. This sudden surge in available commercial real estate created both challenges and opportunities for property owners and investors. The Quiznos saga also highlights the importance of diversification in commercial real estate portfolios. Relying too heavily on a single type of tenant, especially in the volatile fast food industry, can be risky. Smart investors are now looking at ways to repurpose former fast food locations, turning them into everything from urgent care centers to boutique fitness studios. But Quiznos isn't alone in its struggles. Other chains are facing similar challenges, leaving behind a trail of empty storefronts. Steak and Shake, for instance, has closed over 100 locations in recent years. Sbarro, once a food court staple, has closed hundreds of stores. Even larger chains like Burger King and Wendy's have closed underperforming locations. This trend isn't just about individual branches failing, it's indicative of broader shifts in consumer behavior and the economy. People are increasingly opting for healthier, fresher options, or choosing to cook at home. The rise of food delivery apps has also changed the game, making traditional fast food less appealing. Think the fast food apocalypse is over? Think again. The next wave is hitting even harder, taking down some of the most recognizable brands in America. We're talking double-digit sales drops and thousands of store closures. This is a seismic shift that's going to change the face of commercial real estate across the country. Let's start with a name you probably weren't expecting to see on this list: Starbucks. The coffee giant that seemed to have a shop on every corner is suddenly struggling. Starbucks reported a 3% decline in U.S. store sales in Q1 2024. Now, 3% might not sound like much, but here's what's crazy. This time last year, they were seeing 12% growth. That's a massive swing in the wrong direction. But it's not just your morning coffee run that's in jeopardy. KFC, the king of fried chicken, is also feeling the heat. Their same-store sales in the U.S. dropped by 7%. Even the Colonel isn't immune to this fast food fallout. The CEO, David Gibbs, admitted they're struggling due to fierce competition and slowing economic activity. Now, let's talk seafood. Red Lobster, a staple of suburban dining for decades, has filed for bankruptcy. They're planning to close about 15% of their locations. That's nearly 1,000 restaurants. The CEO, Jonathan Tibus, pointed to rising food and labor costs as major challenges. Imagine driving past your local Red Lobster and seeing an empty building instead. It's a reality that's coming to many communities. But wait, there's more. Pizza Hut, one of the biggest names in pizza, saw a 7% drop in same-store sales. This led to 142 locations filing for bankruptcy. They're struggling to keep up with the rise of fast casual pizza chains and delivery-focused competitors. The pizza game is changing, and Pizza Hut is scrambling to keep up. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but what does this mean for me? Well, here's where it gets interesting for real estate investors and potential home buyers. All these closures could lead to a surge in available commercial real estate. We're talking about prime locations suddenly becoming vacant. This could create opportunities for investors looking to repurpose or redevelop these spots. But it's not all smooth sailing. The restaurant industry can be financially unstable, especially after the pandemic. We saw formerly successful businesses all over the country shutting down due to loss of profit. This trend isn't slowing down, it's accelerating. So what's causing this fast food fallout? It's a perfect storm of factors. Rising food costs are squeezing profit margins. Labor shortages are forcing chains to raise wages, further eating into profits. And let's not forget changing consumer habits. More people are opting for healthier options or choosing to cook at home. This isn't just about fast food, it's about changing consumer habits, economic pressures, and a shift in the commercial real estate landscape. The next time you drive by these restaurants, they might be gone, and that empty building, it could be the next hot investment opportunity. As fast food chains crumble, a new feast is being prepared, but this time it's for real estate investors. Imagine turning a defunct drive-thru into the next big thing. Sounds enticing, right? But here's the catch. Not all these locations are created equal. Some might be sitting on a ticking economic time bomb. With 15 major fast food chains facing potential collapse, we're about to see a flood of commercial properties hit the market. Those prime locations that once housed bustling fast food joints could soon be up for grabs. But before you start dreaming about turning that old Burger King into a trendy coffee shop, let's take a closer look at what's really going on. First off, we need to understand that these closures aren't happening in a vacuum. They're part of a broader economic shift. When fast food chains start shutting down en masse, it's often a sign of deeper issues in the local economy. We're talking about declining foot traffic, changing demographics, or even whole neighborhoods facing economic downturn. Now you might be thinking, but isn't this the perfect time to snatch up some cheap real estate? Well, yes and no. Here's where it gets tricky. While some of these locations could indeed be golden opportunities, others might be fool's gold. The key is knowing how to tell the difference. Let's look at some numbers. KFC reported a 7% drop in same-store sales. That's a big deal, folks. When a giant like KFC starts stumbling, it's not just about chicken, it's about the whole economic ecosystem around those restaurants. And they're not alone. Red Lobster, Chili's, Outback Steakhouse, they're all closing locations due to profit losses. So what does this mean for real estate investors? Well, it's a double-edged sword. On one hand, we're seeing a surge in available commercial properties. These are often in prime locations. Think busy intersections, popular shopping centers, areas with high visibility. For a savvy investor, this could be a gold mine. But here's the catch, and it's a big one. Not all these locations are going to be winners. Some might be in areas facing broader economic decline. You don't want to invest in a property only to find out the whole neighborhood is on a downward spiral. That's a recipe for financial disaster. The smart move? Look at these closures as indicators of broader economic trends. If you're seeing multiple fast food chains closing in the same area, that's a red flag. It might signal deeper issues with the local economy that could affect your investment in the long run. On the flip side, if you're seeing closures in otherwise thriving areas, that could be your opportunity to strike. These might be spots where the fast food model just isn't working anymore, but other businesses could thrive. Think about how you could repurpose these spaces. A former drive-thru could become a bustling coffee shop. An old pizza joint could transform into a trendy fitness studio. The key is to do your homework. Don't just look at the property itself. Study the surrounding area. What are the demographic trends? Are other businesses moving in or out? What's the long-term economic outlook for the neighborhood? These are the questions that separate successful investors from those who end up with expensive mistakes. Now, here's something interesting. All these closures could lead to lower commercial real estate prices in certain markets. We might be looking at a buyer's market in some areas, but remember, a low price doesn't always mean a good deal. You need to factor in the potential for future growth and development. Folks, we're witnessing a seismic shift in the fast food landscape. With 15 major chains facing potential collapse, the impact on commercial real estate is undeniable. These closures are reshaping our communities and creating unexpected opportunities for savvy investors. But here's what's crazy. This change is happening against a backdrop of economic uncertainty. The U.S. inflation rate is at 3%, expected to drop to 2% by the end of 2024. This is about the entire economic landscape changing before our eyes. For real estate investors and home buyers, staying informed and adaptable is crucial. The fast food industry's struggles serve as a reminder that market conditions can shift rapidly. Keep an eye on these trends and be ready to act when opportunities arise. The future of fast food and real estate is being written right now. Thanks for watching, and please make sure you subscribe if you enjoyed the video and watch this one as well.